Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, we hear.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Abrar Hussein. Uh, you said so many good things about me that I didn't remember that I had those qualities that you ascribed. But it makes me very happy to hear all that. And I thought that on his invitation and Asad Yusuf, I thought that I'll be able to join your meeting and say a few things. And one of the topics that came to mind was how I got started in medical physics, and rather I should say how I stumbled into it. Uh, as Abrar said, I got my MSc degree from Government College Lahore, the city that I loved. I still do. Uh, right after graduation from government college, I looked for a job and I found one in Foreman Christian College uh, as a lecturer. And also, I had the job of organizing and maintaining a physics lab. Uh, this lasted for about a year. And once an ad appeared in the newspaper, Pakistan Times, if I remember, there was an ad about a position at Mayo Hospital, Lahore, of a hospital physicist. Until then, I never heard of a hospital physicist, and I didn't know that there was anything that physicists did at that time in a hospital. However, the pay was good, so I thought maybe I should apply for it. And we had, I had an interview, and I had no idea what this interview will be because I did not know anything about hospital physics. I never heard of it. And there was one member on the panel. He asked me a question. What is a Rankin? And I thought a bit, and then I told him that in my physics books, once I read that Raman has something to do with measuring radiation. But this is all I could say. But anyway, the interview finished. I wasn't too thrilled about my answer. However, in few days, I got a letter that I had been selected for the hospital physics position, and well, I I joined the hospital in 1960 as a hospital physicist, and there was a new institute of radiation therapy built at that time, and the chairman of the department was Dr. Yaqub, uh, who who had been trained in England, and he knew that physicians should always work along with physicists. He knew the value of a physicist in a radiation therapy department. So he took me under his wings. I must say that a lot of clinical orientation that I developed
सर
During my
समझे
3 years at the Mayo Hospital,
कौन से नंबर पे
I learned from Dr. Yaqub
अच्छा
at every turn. Not having been a medical physicist before, as a matter of fact, the term medical physics was not known at that time, not been coined yet. However, there were some books written by British hospital physicists that I read. And so during these 3 years, I just read books and tried to implement them in the department. I remember we had only one Victorine armeter, which I used to calibrate orthovoltage machines we had. And then we got our first cobalt machine. This was the first cobalt machine in Pakistan. And then I didn't know how to calibrate it. I was wondering how to do that. In the books, it has a lot of things that I thought I didn't have. But fortunately, there was a hospital physicist visiting Pakistan from Switzerland. So I talked to Dr. Yaqub, and he invited him to come over and spend a week with us. And this physicist from Switzerland, he actually taught me how to calibrate a cobalt machine. But the first thing he did was he built a gap, which is required if you have a Victorine R meter for auto voltage. You need a build-up gap for cobalt. And he actually he did was he took a little plexiglass tube, and with his knife he made it a build-up cap, and he put it on top of the green chamber. That's how he showed me how to calibrate the cobalt machine. Anyway, I not only checked the calibration on a routine basis of the cobalt machine, I was the only one who learned how to operate the cobalt machine and set up patients and treat. So for the rest of the 2 years that I was there, I was the one who was treating the patients as well as planning their treatment. And, treatment planning was something we didn't have those computers that you guys have now. But I had atlases, isodose curves that came with the cobalt machine. So I used those to plan each patient treatment. And at that time also, we had a couple of physicians in training in radiation therapy. We call them residents here. And I also taught them how to do treatment planning as a part of their training. So I should say that in 3 years that I was there, I really learned clinical physics by reading books, by associating myself with the physician, Dr. Yaqub, and Dr. Masood, who became the chair of the department after Dr. Yaqub left. And so I was doing my best, considering that they told at the time it was known that I was the first medical physicist, I should say hospital physicist in Pakistan. So who do I go to get training or guidance or whatever? But I think the books and Dr. Yaqub and Dr. Masood, with their help, and with my own efforts to understand what was going on, I was able to provide a degree of service as a hospital physicist there. And after 3 years, there was an ad in the paper about the Fulbright scholarship in the U.S. So I applied for it, but I had no idea whether this would be even possible because there were only very few scholarships available in the whole of Pakistan, including West Pakistan, East Pakistan, I'm sorry, at that time, which is now Bangladesh. So anyway, I applied for it, and somehow in the interview, I mean, this was not a technical interview, technical questions or anything. They were general questions, and they asked me what my hobbies were, and I said my hobby was photography. And then one of the U.S. ambassadors on the panel asked me, have you seen an exhibit lately in Lahore? And lo and behold, I had, and that was the exhibit of a famous American photographer, Ansel Adams. And I talked about his exhibit. I have a feeling that the panel was happy with my hobbies, and they were happy also when I told them that I really want a very structured training in the US, also wants to have a higher degree in the area of radiation therapy physics, and that I would like to do research in this area as well. So I had some lofty ideas that I threw out, but after the interview, I had a good feeling that maybe I was able to impress the interviewers. And after a month or so, I got the letter that I had been selected for the Fulbright. You can't believe me. I was with my friend. We jumped up and down for for a few minutes, and that's how my voyage to United States came, and it's a U.S. Fulbright is a great organization. They actually arranged for everything that I needed, including my travel and first year of my all expenses and tuition and whatever. And they are the one who actually picked University of Minnesota for me and be a student of a very famous biophysicist named Otto Schmidt. And so they did all the arrangements. The first thing I did when I heard that I'm going to Minnesota, I went to the US library to find out where the heck Minnesota was. I never heard of it before. And it turned out it was very up north, bordering with Canada. Well, that's great. It's a cold climate country, coming from a very hot place. I thought that'll be great. So anyway, in 1963, I arrived in Minneapolis, and from then on, I was a student, Ph.D. student, and I finished my Ph.D. I did at the same time work in the department as assistant physicist, and then became I had a physicist later on, and Abrar already gave you all the things that I did over there, and so this is something that I should let know that uh, it was simply uh, good fortune, good luck, and again, luck comes in, but the main thing is you have to be ready to take advantage of it. So I did, and so I feel good about that. Of all the medical physics thing that Abrar mentioned, it was a delight to do that, and it was kind of determination that I wanted medical physics to be practiced according to what I thought the best way to help patients in their treatments. But of all the activities that I did, including clinical service, teaching, and research, of all the activities that I did, the best thing that I think I did was to write a book. And that was also a lucky thing because one day in 1979, I remember, an agent from a medical book publishing stopped by and asked me, she told me that she had heard about me through other people and that I might be interested in writing a book on medical physics. And I said, I'll be glad to. So I sent a few chapters. They had them reviewed. And the main thing was, how can I write a book which will not only appeal to physicists, but also to physicians and technicians. They used to be called technicians, now they are called therapists. Because this is the team that makes sure that the patient is treated properly. Well, I wanted to write a book that would appeal to all of them. And thanks to my experience in Mayo Hospital on my own, and also very structured training and work at the University of Minnesota, that I had to combine all that experience. And I thought, okay, I'm going to write a book as if I'm working in the clinic, and I should provide answers to all the problems that are encountered in the clinic. And with that in mind, I started writing the book, my first book, The Physics of Radiation Therapy. I started in 1979, and I kept it up. As you know, during the day, you have to work in the department. You have no time for it. But all this was done at home. And my kids, they still say, Dad was always writing something. And that's exactly what I was doing, was working on my book. It took me 5 years to finish it. And it got published in 1984, the first edition. And to my great amazement, it became a big hit, not only in the United States, but all over the world.
इसको डबल चेक कर देना
And
आरटी
you
बना
couldn't
दिया
have asked for
कमेंट
better
वो हो
board.
जाएगा कर देता हूँ
And so over the years, I have kept this book up to date. Now it is in the, I think it's 6th edition or 7th edition. I don't even remember now. I retired in 2001, as Abrar mentioned. And after retirement, I still kept in touch with medical physics so that I could keep on updating the book, because my publisher wanted me to update the book frequently so that we kept up with the development in the field. So, however, at the same time, I was getting old like everybody else. Everybody has to get old, someday. And I was getting far removed from medical physics. I was not working in the department and things like that. So a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I decided that I'm going to retire completely. So right now, I'm completely retired. And after the talk, if you have questions, go ahead, but don't ask me a question on medical physics, but if you do, I'll refer you to my book. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm quite thankful to you in giving your precious time to us, sharing your journey. There's one question. Have you ever feel like giving up when you did your PhD or at any time in your career path? If yes, what did you do to overcome those feelings? I think there are youngsters who are asking this kind of question. Okay. Have you ever feel like giving up when you did your PhD or at any time in your career path? If yes, what did you do to overcome those feelings?
Is hard. You can go through all kinds of different hardships, and mentally and otherwise, but you have to persevere. If your heart is into the field, then you will find out that you will find a way. It's just like an athlete, in Olympics. They prepare very hard, and it's very hard on their body. It's very hard on mentally, everything. But to be an Olympian, you cannot give in, and so it's you have to make sure your mind is into it and never give up. That will be my advice.
Okay, any other questions from the participant? Okay,
Any other questions from participants?
I collected more information from Bruce, Dr. Eli, and Dr. Pival, and as well as Dr. Syed. And I will add up those information because I got some of the information last night. So I will put that information in this presentation and share with and he will share with his group. And we feel honored you are you are with us, and we, in case we have any issue, any problem or question, sometime for the sake of advice, usually we try to reach you. And thank you very much for your mentoring still, even during your like retirement period.
There is another question, sir. Any plan to visit Pakistan? Yes, I am asking that question. Any other plan to visit Pakistan? Okay. Uh, okay, sir. We would like to give you compliments. The compliments has been shared with our physicist community from Pakistan and from other country as well. So I am sharing the window with you. Where I think you can see this. Uh, yeah. So you can see there are a number of compliments are here. This is our medical physics team in AKUH, and this is me, Asad Yusuf. This is Abdul Qadir, my supervisor, and these are my colleagues. This is another hospital in Noreen, Nawab Shah. There are two physicists working there. There's a Quetta, there are two physicists, and I would like to share one audio message in Urdu if you like to hear from Mr. Mubashir from Enor, Aptabad. आवाज सही आ रही है सर? Right, sir. This Padlet wall I will share with you. You can review these comments, the appreciation comments for you. So this is a kind of appreciation we would like to give to you because you're not physically with us. We can't give you any souvenir or anything like that. So this is a token from our side. Now I would like to ask Sir Abdul Qadir to give a closing remarks. Yes, sir.
Valuable time for us to grace this occasion, but also for enlightening us with this early career story. It was really inspiring for all of us. Your contribution in medical physics is an honor for the whole nation, and I must say that you are the path star of medical physics. I take this opportunity to extend our most sincere thanks to all our guest speakers and invitees who joined this MPTP lecture series. I also wish to express my gratitude to Mr. Asad, who conceptualized, planned, and made excellent effort to bring about medical physics community together on this learning forum. And greatest out of all is to arrange today's lecture by Sir F.M. Khan. Finally, I once again thank you all for your participation and attention. I will take liberty to say a few words in Urdu for Sir F.M. Khan. सर हम दुआगो हैं कि आप सेहतमंद रहें, सलामत रहें और दुनिया और आखिरत की कामयाबी और कामरानी आपके साथ हो. With these few words, thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
We
We
are
are
signing
signing
out,
out.
and we'll continue with the lectures tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pakistani time. Hope you all join us. Thank you. Thank you, sir.